Hello everyone, Vincent here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at some more tips that new players need to know about. As I've mentioned throughout my Warframe videos, the game doesn't really have a good new player experience, which they are going to be updating soon as far as the developers said. But for the meantime, I hope you find this video informative. I will make a detailed beginner's guide to Warframe after the new player experience update drops so that the video will be in line with the new update. So without further ado, let's get started with tip number 1. Don't stay for too long in the open world nodes. The current available open world nodes, Plains of Eidolon and Orbivalis, can be accessed fairly early in the game, especially Plains of Eidolon since located on Earth. These open world nodes are designed for late game and aren't exactly beginner friendly. What I can suggest to do the story quest Saya's Vigil that takes place in the Plains of Eidolon since it spawns low-level enemies and is fairly easy to complete, and leave the Plains of Eidolon and come back to it once you're far into the game. The story quest also gives you your first codex scanners and the tutorial on how to use them. Fortuna and Orbivalis are only a tangent to the node leading to the next junction, so these two can be ignored for the meantime. Orbivalis is much more dangerous compared to the Plains of Eidolon, as the former has a wanted level mechanic where enemies that spawn become stronger the more wanted levels you have, and enemies can quickly overwhelm you. And unlike Plains of Eidolon, Orbivalis' story quest is designed for late game as well and is not beginner friendly. Number 2. The shortcut key for ciphers. You might have noticed that the game makes you craft ciphers during one of the story quests, but you never actually use them as much as you thought you would. Or maybe you are using them, but you wish there was an easier way to do it other than moving your mouse to the bottom of the screen. You don't need to do that if you knew that the shortcut key for using ciphers when hacking consoles is the letter Y on your keyboard. Go ahead, try it. Number 3. Nullifier Crewman of the Corpus. You will be encountering an enemy when you run missions with Corpus enemies that surrounds itself and its perimeter with a blue barrier. You'll notice that when you burst this blue barrier, it can come back after a few seconds, and it will continue to do so every time you burst the barrier until you kill the actual enemy. This can be annoying as not only this barrier shields itself and any enemies inside it, it can also cancel every active Warframe abilities if you get caught inside. However, if you look closely enough, just above the actual Nullifier Crewman, there will be a drone that seems to be responsible for generating the barrier. You can shoot at it and actually destroy it. This will prevent the Nullifier Crewman from generating the blue barrier again, and is a quick way to dispose of the barrier instead of shrinking it down by shooting it directly. Number 4. The suicidal drones of Corpus drop rare materials. The Corpus has this orange-colored drone called the Oxium Osprey that likes to kamikaze to deal damage to you. If it succeeds in suiciding, it won't drop anything, but if you manage to kill it before it kills itself, it will drop Oxium, a rare material that is used to craft equipment. Number 5. Argon Crystals. Along the way, you will come across items that need Argon Crystals before you can craft them. These crystals can only be farmed on mission nodes located in the Void, which the earliest point that you can access it is after defeating the Sergeant in Phobos, and they are extremely rare. Enemies in the Void rarely drop them, but the most reliable way of getting these crystals is to look for their deposits. Argon crystal deposits look like rubido deposits, but they are colored violet and are pointier. You only get 1 Argon crystal per deposit, 2 if you have a resource booster active, and since you can only rarely find Argon crystal deposits in the Void, it is really a tedious material to farm. And so with that, your next thought may be to farm them early in the game, so you don't need to get them when you need it to craft materials in the future. Well, here's the thing. Argon crystals expire. Once you acquire them, they will disappear from your inventory after 24 hours. Don't waste your time trying to stock up on Argon crystals, and instead just farm them when you need them right at the moment. It's really one of those annoying things that Digital Extremes decided to add to the game. If you're going to farm Argon crystals, I suggest running the low-level capture mission node in the Void, Hepit. Capture the target quickly, then explore the whole area for Argon crystals. If you have already acquired Limbo, he can be a really good Warframe to farm Argon crystals. First of all, he is safe from all sorts of damage when he's in the rift, done by tapping shift on your keyboard or the equivalent in controllers, so you don't need to worry about dodging and killing enemies to survive. And second, his fort ability has a wide area of effect and can destroy objects. This way, you don't need to go room by room to destroy resource objects. Having a companion with the animal instinct and vacuum mods will significantly make this process easier. Be sure to get out of the rift from time to time to collect loot. Number 6. Syndicate allies and oppositions. Syndicates are one of the management sim features that the game has that can reward you with pretty sweet items. Syndicates also offer augment mods for your Warframe abilities, which will give some of your Warframe abilities either additional effects or change the skill entirely. You can unlock the Syndicate console on your Orbiter once you reach Mastery Rank 3, although you can access them earlier than that by going to a relay found on most planets and talking to the Syndicate representative on their respective groups. We will talk about Mastery ranks later in the video. There are currently 15 Syndicates available in the game, each having their own ideologies and goals. 6 of these Syndicates are faction Syndicates, where each faction have their own ally, opposition, and another faction Syndicate that they're neutral with. Once you unlock Syndicate, each faction Syndicate will give you their basic sigil. The way this mechanic works is once you equip the sigil by going to the appearance section of your Warframe in your arsenal, going to the Regalia section and choosing either front or back sigil, you will gain standing for the respective faction Syndicate that owns the sigil based on the amount of affinity that you get. You can also do Syndicate alert missions to further give you standing and eventually rank up, giving you access to the ability, augment mods, and weapons unique to each Syndicate. As mentioned earlier, each faction Syndicate has their own ally, opposition, and factions they're neutral with, and gaining standing for one Syndicate will also increase the standing for their ally, but decrease the standing for their opposition. Through normal gameplay, you can max out 2 faction Syndicate ranks, but with careful management, you can max up to 4. It is a bit complicated and will make this video longer, so we'll leave it at that, but I will be linking some resources on how to make this possible down in the description. All mods, weapons, and captura scenes that can be acquired from Syndicates can be traded between players, so don't worry about which Syndicate you side with, as you can still get the other items from other players, albeit much later when you have the Platinum or other items to trade with. Number 7. Get the Infinite Scanner upgrade from Cephalon Cimaris. Cephalon Cimaris is one of the 9 neutral Syndicates in the game. You can get to him by choosing the fast travel and Cephalon Cimaris options in the pause menu when in a relay. You will get to meet him properly during the new strange story quest, in which you will undergo missions concerning synthesizing targets using the synthesis scanner. The synthesis scanner is the same as the codex scanner that you get from CS Video, the only difference being the synthesis scanner can synthesize targets for Cephalon Cimaris Syndicate missions to increase standing. Consequently, scanning objects with the synthesis scanner also gives you a little bit of standing for Cephalon Cimaris. But what makes the synthesis scanner better than the codex scanner is that it can be upgraded. Cephalon Cimaris offers 4 upgrades called widgets for the synthesis scanner, but what we want to focus on is the soul battery widget. This allows your synthesis scanner to not consume charges when you scan objects. This is especially useful if you have Helios equipped as your companion with the mode Investigator, as Helios can drain your scanner charges pretty quickly. Once you equip the soul battery widget, you can now scan objects without worrying about buying multiple scanner charges from Cephalon Cimaris or running out of them during missions when you have Helios equipped. Number 8. Do your best to scan every enemy in the game. This is easily achievable once you get Helios from the energy lab of your clan's dojo and the soul battery widget upgrade for your synthesis scanner. And you need to do this because of the Simulacrum. The Simulacrum is a place that you can access in Cephalon Cimaris room that, as the name suggests, allows you to simulate battles. Or to put it simply, try out different mod builds on different enemies without actually going to missions and hoping that they spawn. Before you can access the Simulacrum, you need to buy the key from Cephalon Cimaris for 50,000 standing points. Once unlocked, you can enter this place and summon mimeographs of enemies that you have already completed your codex research on. This is very useful to experiment on mod builds and try out all kinds of new stuff, since you can spawn multiple enemies and even pause their AI so they stop moving. You can bring in other players in the Simulacrum as well. And lastly, number 9. Do your mastery rank test as soon as you can. Your account also level up aside from your weapons and Warframe. The level of your account is termed Mastery Rank, or MR for short, and it signifies how much of the game's content you have already experienced. MR increases once you accumulate certain amounts of mastery points, and the mastery point requirement increases each time you increase MR. There are various ways to get mastery points. The most common one is ranking up your equipment. Ranking up weapons, sentinel weapons, and arc-wing weapons grant 100 mastery points for each rank gained up to rank 30. Giving a total of 3,000 mastery points. Ranking up Warframes, Companions, Arc-Wings, and K-Drives, the skateboard that you get from Fortuna, gives 200 mastery points for each rank gained up to rank 30, giving a total of 6,000 mastery points. Individual equipment can only give you mastery points once per variant, meaning that resetting its rank to 0 either by using a format to polarize it, or selling it and rebuilding it in the foundry, and ranking it up to 30 again won't give you mastery points anymore. I will be making another video talking about how experience system of the game works. Completing planet junctions give you mastery points as well, and completing a mission node's main objective for the first time will give you a predetermined amount of mastery points. Once you reach the maximum mastery point needed, you can now increase your mastery rank. To do this, you need to do a mastery rank test. You can do so by visiting Cephalon Simaris and going right as soon as you enter its area. From here, you can practice for the mastery rank test before actually doing it for real. If you continue to gain mastery points even if you have maximum mastery points for your current MR, the excess mastery points will carry over once you decide to do the mastery rank test, so no mastery points will be wasted. You can only do one mastery rank test per day, however. It is easy to gain mastery points to jump between mastery ranks early in the game, but the 24-hour restriction can impede your progress to increasing your MR. This is why it is advisable to do your mastery rank test as soon as you can. There are a lot of benefits in increasing your MR. The most notable benefit is it increases the initial mod capacity of your equipment. For example, in my case, I am MR 17. My unranked Warframe will have 17 mod capacity already available, 34 if an Orokin reactor is installed. This allows me to put more mods that will improve its overall performance without ranking it up. Another notable benefit is it allows you to craft and equip weapons and Warframe that are locked behind MR requirements. There are a lot of items that are locked behind MR requirements, so aiming to increase your MR should always be in your mind to enjoy all equipments offered by the game. Some of these items are needed to be crafted as well to access a planet's junction to get to another planet. MR 15 is the highest rank you need to unlock all game contents. There are also story quests that are locked behind MR requirements, and some of these story quests are necessary to access late game contents. The amount of void traces you can store also increases for each rank you gain. Void traces are used to upgrade your relics to Radiant to increase the chance of the relic dropping its rare item, and it requires 100 void traces to upgrade a single relic to Radiant. We'll get more to that on a separate video about void fissures.